Gauley. It's a mighty rapid. It runs at level 4 out of level 5 out of about level 6 in terms of rapids. It was certainly running high the year that I decided to raft that river. So Buddy and I got wisely a smaller raft because they're more dangerous. And the way you stay in those rafts is by securing your feet between the floor and the balloon on the raft edge. And then you sit on the edge, and in order to paddle, you have to lean out of the raft so you're kind of perpendicular to the water as you run down the river. And we were having just a great time for the first 4 hours. And then we came to a level 5 rapid called Pure Screamin' Hell. And I thought, this is a really bad idea. But upside down though I was, we managed not to flip the raft. We got through. I'm still alive and here with you today. It was a thrilling experience. My sister says that I am something of a thrill seeker. I like to, when I'm at the beach, take those parasails up, you know, and even despite hearing that they run into buildings periodically. But there are some things I absolutely will not do. I will never bungee jump. Your eyes pop out if you bungee jump. I will not hang glide. There is a movie that's just been out about a guy who does free climbing. I'm not even going to watch the movie. But I used to like to ski. I think those days are over. Black diamonds. I like zip lines. I like to investigate sea caves in Santa Cruz Island. There's a lot that I think is still within the boundaries of legitimate thrill seeking. Why? Because there's an adrenaline buzz. You know you're alive, don't you, when we have these peak experiences, these mountaintop experiences, which comes from the reading today. You're beginning to see the tie-in. We like that rush of adrenaline. That's why I see so many of you loitering in Starbucks, looking for an adrenaline rush. Even the most timid of us like those peak experiences. Now, the disciples today are pretty disanimated because Jesus has been speaking to them about his coming arrest and execution, and they don't understand. This is not what they signed on for when they left their nets. They signed on for some peak experiences, for some excitement in their lives. They were tired of being fishermen. They were hoping to participate in the Messianic era. And now they are disanimated. In fact, Judas is probably so disanimated that he is well on his way to betraying his master. Jesus takes Peter, James, and John, and that is why only those three. He takes Peter, James, and John up what was probably Mount Tabor. Palestinian Christian guides always show me the precise route that they took up Mount Tabor. Probably it was Mount Tabor that they went up. And then, of course, true to form, the disciples are heavy with sleep. Kind of like all of you at this juncture, as you try to listen to me. They are beginning to nod off. But fortunately, they stayed awake, and because they stayed awake, they saw the mysterious arrival of a vision of Moses, the inaugurator of the New Covenant, and of Elijah. It was always said that Elijah would appear when the Messiah arrived, and they are in converse with Jesus. And now the disciples are alert. They are awake. They've got a Starbucks rush going. It is a peak experience for them. They are on the mountaintop. As surely as I was at the bottom of a wave when paddling the Galilee, they are alert to what the world is saying to them. So Peter, with his customary insight, says, Lord, tell you what, we're going to pitch 3 tents. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah, and tonight we'll do s'mores over a fire. Does that sound good to you, Lord? And at that juncture, of course, the cloud closes in, and from the cloud, "This is my chosen one, listen to him." And the hymn that they have to listen to tells them that no, they can't stay there on their peak experience. They have to go back down Mount Tabor to the plain where people in need are waiting for them. We have in our parish an iconographer, Mary Jane Miller. She does these icons. She has many icons. And I learned from Mary Jane Miller that you don't paint icons, you write them. And there's a very strict format involved in the writing of icons, particularly in the Eastern Orthodox Church. And if you don't do it the right way, as Mary Jane often does it, she pushes the limits, she introduces some feminist themes, and she gets hate email for her iconography. You'd think people would have better things to do, wouldn't you? She gets hate email for her iconography because she pushes the limits sometimes. Now, in Eastern Orthodox iconography, when they're painting this day or writing this day, the Feast of the Transfiguration, there is one rule, and that is that Jesus has to have his feet firmly planted on the mountain. Now, Raphael must have been a Mary Jane, because we're all familiar with Raphael's painting where Jesus is hovering at least 3 feet off the ground, maybe working on a meter, and he probably got hate email. For today's purposes, I want to join the Orthodox and keep Jesus on the ground. That's what he's doing when he takes his disciples back down the plain. I don't know what your Christian journey has been. Maybe you had a radical conversion experience, and it was a peak experience for you. I've had peak experiences in my faith, though I pretty much have always have been a person who considered myself a Christian. But we like those peak experiences when they come. That's why we all have our certain preferences in worship style. We all have our favorite hymns. Nothing like clergy people asking people which hymns they want to sing, because there's a complete span of input. We are all liturgists at heart. You know the difference between a liturgist and a terrorist? You can argue with a terrorist. We all have our opinions because we all want to sense the divine in our lives. We want those peak experiences, but eventually the Spirit says to us, listen to him. And him is going to take us down the mountain. And you know what they found when they went down the mountain was a convulsing boy. And the disciples could not heal that child, but Jesus could and did. They found difficulties down on the plain. I recall one post-Christmas, and Christmases could be brutal for clergy at St. Edmund's, my previous parish. I went with my parents to the Schubert Theater in LA to see Ragtime, and I was looking for some uplift and some R&R and maybe a peak experience, and indeed Ragtime delivered. It has wonderful theatrical themes of suffering and challenge and prejudice, and I was so uplifted as we sat there in the Schubert Theater, except the woman sitting beside me really smelled badly. And I found myself kind of resenting her and wondering why she couldn't have showered up before coming to see Ragtime. And then came intermission, and I saw this woman out in the intermission period, and I realized she was anorexic. And I know that in the latter stages of anorexia, people often smell badly, and I felt like a total jerk. In the second half of Ragtime, those themes of challenge made me want to turn and say something kind to her, which would have interrupted her theatrical experience, and so I didn't. I just felt like a jerk. But it was a reminder that peak experiences are supposed to fit us for meeting human need. Whenever I was skiing and I was at the top of a a black diamond looking down, I'd say, oh boy, this is the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to be a ski bum. And I never did that. I came to my senses by the time I made it down the mountain. But we would like all of us, I think, to stay on the mountaintop. When the real intersection of meaning and glory is down on the plain, where we deal with social and cultural and moral and political challenges and intersections, and people who have real needs that need attention. Sometimes basic and fundamental needs, sometimes loneliness. They are suffering from the harshness of life, the complexity of trying to make it through this world. And like Peter, most of us would just like to pitch 3 tents and roast marshmallows. And today we are reminded, if we listen to Him, the chosen, we will have to make our way back down from our peak experiences. They are meant to reanimate us for the work on the plain. Amen.